स्थापितं येन रूपा कदा माह्यं ददाति सम्पदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलम् श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेव श्रीकृष्ण श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमो भगवते कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सारिषते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे धन्यवादी प्राशाद्य देशतारिणे हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna. So continuing on the 15th chapter, Puruṣottamayoga, the yoga of the Supreme Person, where Krishna is very kindly revealing that how he is the maintainer, he is the sustainer, he is the bestower of all that we need to exist even in this material world. That is why Krishna spoke in the 9th chapter, Pitahamas Jagato Mata Dhata Pitamaha. If we are not held by Krishna, we cannot sustain even in material existence, even for a moment. At the cosmological level, he maintains us to the energy of the sun, moon, and the fire. Then at the terrestrial level, he maintains the balance of all the planets which are rotating around the sun, so they don't fall. So that Shakti, Dharayami, that Shakti of holding or sustenance is coming from Krishna. And he also provides the juice, Soma Bhutva Rasatmaka. And to cook whatever has been cultivated, we need fire. So Krishna is the force. He is the ojas in the fire, which cooks the food. And not only that, he enters inside our belly as Vaishnavana Agni, so that we can digest the food. So as he enters into our belly to become the fire of digestion, similarly he enters into our heart. He is there seated in the heart. And from him comes three things. Matta, Smritir. Smriti is remembrance. Jnanam is knowledge. And Apohanam is forgetfulness. And Krishna also declared very emphatically that he is the one who is the knower and compiler of the Vedas. Vedescha sarver ahameva vedyo. What is the purpose of this entire Vedic version? Is to know him. He is the knower of the Vedas, and what is the purpose of the Vedas? To know him. And he is also the compiler of the Vedas. So when Krishna declared this secret, so Arjuna is inquiring that if you are the knower, the compiler, and to be known from the Vedas, and Vedas are very vast, very, very difficult to comprehend. So Acharya says, Arjuna is asking, so please tell me what is the essence of Veda? What is the conclusion of the Veda? What is the essence of the Veda? Conclusion of Veda? It is called Vedanta, where the Vedas end. What is that? The final summation or culmination of the Vedas. So this final section from 16 to 20 is the Vedanta Sutra, where Krishna speaks the essence of all Vedic wisdom. Krishna has said, Matta Smritir Jnanam Aponam Cha. So the essential knowledge Krishna will reveal in next 3 verses. So we saw the Chaturshloki Gītā, but there is now this very, very confidential 3 Shloki Gītā. In 3 shloks, Krishna will summarize the entire teaching of Gītā. That is 16th, 17th and 18th verse. It is the 3 Shloki Gītā. Krishna will speak in these 3 verses the essential message or the essential teachings of Krishna, of Gītā. Dvaima, 16th verse. Dvaima purusha loke sharastakshare vacha shara sarvani bhutani bhutastho akshar uchyate. So what is the essence Krishna speaks? First he speaks about us, the living entity. So there are Dvaima Purusho Loke. So in this creation, there are 2 classes of men. What are the 2 classes of men? Not just 4 classes. In the 4th chapter, Krishna says that there are 4 classes. What were the 4 classes? Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. But here Krishna is speaking about something even higher. What he says? That Sharas Chakshar Evacha. What are the 2 classes? One is the Shara. Shara means that which is covered by the illusionary energy, fallible. And the other is Akshara. Akshara means which that is infallible. That means which cannot be influenced by the illusionary energy. And Shara Sarvani Bhutani. In this material world, every living entity is Shara, Sarvani Bhutani. We have already discussed Jiva Bhuta and Brahma Bhuta. What is the conditioned stage? Is Jiva Bhuta. So Shara Sarvani Bhutani. Shara means those who are fallible, those who are influenced and covered by the illusionary energy. They are within this material world, because this material world is governed by the 3 modes of the material creation or the material energy. So in this material world, every living entity is Shara, Sara Sarvani Bhutani. And Kutastha Akshar Uchyate. Kutastha, Prabhupada says this, oneness. Kuta means one who is in perfect knowledge, or one who is in perfect condition. So what is the perfect condition? Is the constitutional position. What is the constitutional position? When he is liberated, when he knows that he has connection with the Supreme Lord. So that means he is properly situated, or he is constitutionally situated. And Prabhupada says he is situated in oneness. And oneness means that his existence is according to the plan of the Supreme Lord. He fulfills the purpose of human existence. So there is oneness of one's existence and of one's activities. So and that is where, that is in the spiritual world. Kutastha, one who is properly situated, he is not in this material world, he is in the spiritual world. So such a person who is in Kutastha is Akshara. Akshara means he is infallible. So there are 2 classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible, Shara and Akshara. We have discussed this to some extent in the 13th chapter. In the 13th chapter, we discussed. In the material world, every living entity is fallible. See the conclusion of the Vedanta. So there is no point in following anyone in this material world, apart from Krishna and his bona fide representative, because everyone is going to fail, is fallible. All efforts, all attempts, all plans, all propositions, all prospects, the result will be only one big zero, nothing else. By the time they realize, life will be over. I met one person today. He has been knowing me for many years. Pious person, very, very pious person. From very good family, rich, opulent, typical Indian mentality. He worships every demigod, tries to do some piety, some punya, donations and service. But he is not fixed. He is not kutastha. In life now, many turmoils are coming at this age. It is inevitable. So I was sharing with him that in this life, situations will never ever be cozy or comfortable. But within that situation, if you serve Krishna, that is success. So there is no point in trying to fall or follow anyone who is in this material world, because Krishna is here declaring very emphatically that every living entity in this material world is fallible, a complete failure. And in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. So whom we have to follow? We have to follow our spiritual master, our acharyas, who have descended from the spiritual world, to uplift us from the fallible position, to make us, either giving us a chance to become infallible. So Krishna is summarizing that there are two types of beings. So as already explained, the Lord in his incarnation as Vyasadeva compiled the Vedanta Sutra. Here the Lord is giving in summary the content of the Vedanta Sutra. He says that the living entities who are innumerable can be divided into two classes, the fallible and the infallible, Shara and Akshara. The living entities are eternally separated parts and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This we have discussed so many times. Mame Vamsho Jiva Loke also we discussed. When they are in contact with the material world, they are called Jiva Bhuta. And the Sanskrit word given here is Shara Sarvani Bhutani, means that they are all fallible. Those who are in this material world, they are not only separated in terms of their constitutional position, but also they are separated from the mission and purpose of the Supreme Lord. They have their own mission. What is their mission? Is to try to enjoy this world. So they are actually separated from the mission of the Supreme Lord. So that is why they are all called Shara. They are all fallen. Where they have fallen from? They have fallen from the purpose for which the Krishna has created them. They are not fulfilling the purpose of human form of life. So they are fallen. But there are others, those who are in oneness with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, are called infallible. So if our existence is in separation from the Supreme Lord, one is infallible situation. And if he is in oneness, or he makes the mission and goal of the Supreme to be his goal of life, then to that extent he is becoming infallible. Oneness does not mean that they have no individuality. This we have discussed so many times. That the individuality and the independence of the living entity is never ever forfeited or compromised in any condition. But there is no disunity. Very beautifully Prabhupada is saying that there is no disunity, means that there is perfect harmony. That is oneness. The living entity performs exactly what the Supreme Lord wants him to perform. So that is oneness. They are all agreeable to the purpose of the creation. This is the infallible position. Of course, in the spiritual world, there is no such thing as creation. But since the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as stated in the Vedanta Sutra, is the source of all emanation, that conception is explained. According to the statement of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, there are two classes of living entities. The Vedas give evidence of this, so there is no doubt about it. The living entities who are struggling in this world with the mind and five senses have their material bodies which they are changing. Beautifully, Krishna has explained that Mana Shashthani Indriyani Prakriti Sthane Karshati. There is great struggle, and what is the result? Is complete failure. There is no scope for even 1% success. It's a 100% failure rate. Those who are Prakriti Sthane Karshati. So as long as the living entity is conditioned, his body changes due to contact with matter. Matter is changing, so the living entity appears to be changing. But in the spiritual world, the body is not made of matter. Therefore, there is no change. So this material creation, which is of 14 planetary system. So Krishna is saying that there is a jiva which is shara. Shara jiva means which is not in unity. Unity of or oneness. That means he does not accept the purpose for which this creation is made and for that which he has been created. So such a jiva is deviated or he is degraded. That is his fallen. Shana means fallen. So he has fallen from his true nature, from his swarupa. He does not fulfill the purpose of his existence. In material world, the living entity undergoes 6 changes. It is called Shadvikar. So many times we have discussed Shadvikars. It is first birth, Janma, birth, then growth, then he stays for some time, reproduction, then dwindling, and finally vanishing. These are the changes of the material body, but in the spiritual world, the body does not change because the body is not made of matter. The body is spiritual. Spiritual means it is eternal, which has no change. And matter means which is undergoing constant change. So that is another difference or distinction between matter and spirit. Spirit means there is no change. And matter means which can never remain the same. It is ever changing. They all exist in oneness. Shara Sarvani Bhutani, any living entity who has come in contact with matter, beginning from the first created being Brahma, down to the small ant, is changing its body. Therefore, they are all fallible. In the spiritual world, however, they are always liberated in oneness. So Krishna is summarizing. First, he speaks about the jivas, about us, that the jivas are classified in 2 classes, those who are fallible and those who are infallible. What is the essential difference between fallible and infallible? Who can respond? What is the basic difference between what classifies that one is fallible and the other is infallible? Yeah, I'm asking all of you. Yes, Manishra?
The basic difference is whether one is following what Krishna is telling exactly or not. If one is situated in constitutional position, then he is infallible. Otherwise, one is fallible.
Yes, the 2 keywords here is oneness and unity. The same thing, what you have said. It is in complete oneness. Oneness means that his mission, his purpose is to execute Krishna's mission. He does not have any other mission in his life. But the others, they are fallible, and those who are fallible means they are ever-changing bodies. But beyond this fallible and infallible, there is another second person. Now, be very careful to understand. What the 17th verse is speaking? Krishna says, Uttama Purushastu Anya Paramatmeti Udarata Ya Loke Trayam Avishya Vivartya Avyaya Ishvara. So we talked about two types of jivas, Shara and Akshara. So that is one aspect. And there is another aspect, which is Uttama. Uttama Purushastu Anya. But beyond both, which is fallible and infallible, there is Uttama. Uttama means the best. Who is that? He is also Purusha. Actual Purusha. And who is he? Paramatmeti Udarata. He is the super soul. Udarata. It is said. And what does Paramatma? How it is best? What he does? That how he is superior? Ya Lokatraya Avishya. That the Paramatma, he enters into this material creation in the three worlds. And Vivarti Avyaya Ishvara. Vivarti also means to maintain. So the job of the maintenance is of Paramatma. Who does the maintenance part? The three Purusha. Mahavishnu or Karnodakshai Vishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Shirodakshai Vishnu. Shirodakshai Vishnu is also called Paramatma. Besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them. Previously also Krishna said that, Gam avashya cha bhutani dharayami aham ojasa. Yeah, in the 14th verse he said, that I enter into each planet and my energy, they stay in the orbit. So first verse was talking about the jiva, both in the fallible and infallible condition. And the 17th verse is talking about the Paramatma or the super soul, which is superior to both. The idea of this verse is very nicely expressed in the Katha Upanishad and the Shweta Upanishad. It is clearly stated here that above the innumerable living entities, some of whom are conditioned and some of whom are liberated, there is this Supreme Personality who is Paramatma. The Upanishadak verses runs as follows: Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Yo Eko Vididhavati Kama. This full verse is given in the second chapter purport, 2.12. If I remember correctly, it is in 2.12. Yes, 2.12. Nityo Nityanams. So who is Nitya? The living entity is Nitya. He is eternal. And the living entity is always conscious. He is not dull. So amongst all eternal, one who is supremely eternal. Among ones who are conscious, among them one who is supremely conscious. Who is that? Eko Bahunam Yo Vididhati Kama. Is that supreme, who fulfills the desire Vididhati Kaman of every other. Tam Atmam Ye Anupashyati Dhira. And where is he situated? He is situated in the Atma. Tam Atmastam. And who can see him? Anupashyati. Anupashyati means to be able to see according to the footsteps. One who is dhira. Tesham shanti shashwati netaresham. Such a person who can reach the Paramatma, he attains Tesham Santi. He attains everlasting peace. So the purport is that, come back to the verse, 17th verse. The purport is that amongst all the living entities, both conditioned and liberated, there is one supreme living personality, the supreme personality of Godhead, who maintains them and gives them all facilities of enjoyment according to different work. That is according to their karma. So the support and the protection, this is offered by whom? Is offered by Paramatma. That supreme personality of Godhead is situated in everyone's heart as Paramatma. A wise man who can understand him is eligible to attain perfect peace, not others. Tam atstam yo anupashyati dhira tesham shanti shashwati nataresham. Okay, so clear till here? Easy, very simple. In the 16th verse, Krishna is talking about two classes of men. One that is fallible, which is in this material world, and the other which is infallible, which is in the spiritual world. But beyond both fallible and infallible, there is another personality who's superior, who's supreme. And who is that? That is the Paramatma, the super soul. And what the super soul is doing? He is protecting and he is supporting everyone. He is maintaining everyone. Without his support, without his maintenance, any form of life is not possible. Then now comes the most confidential part in the 18th verse. So Krishna says, Yasmat sharamati toham aksharadapi chottama ato asmi loke vedecha pratita Puruṣottama. So now Krishna is finally giving the culmination, the final conclusion. What is the final conclusion? Yasmat sharam atito. Atita means which is beyond. Here Prabhupada is mentioning is transcendental. So that which is transcendental to Sharam. What is transcendental to Sharam? Paramatma. In the last verse we saw. In the last verse, Krishna is emphatically declaring that Uttama Purushastu Anya Paramatmeti Udarata. So that which is beyond both fallible and infallible. And even that is Api Chottama. Uttama is who? In the previous verse, who is Uttama? Are you attentively hearing? Who is Uttama?
Paramatma, Prabhuji.
Paramatma. So see what Krishna is saying. Yasmat sharam atitoham aksharad api chottama. One that is superior even to both shara, akshara, and even Paramatma. Aksharat api chottama. Uttama is Paramatma. One who is superior to both shara, akshara, and Paramatma. Ato asmi lok vedecha. So that the Vedas declare. What they declare? Pratita Puruṣottama, which is celebrated as Purusha Uttama. That is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead not only surpasses both the Shara and the Akshara, also the Paramatma. So the Paramatma feature is coming from where? From Puruṣottama. That the Supreme Lord is Puruṣottama. Because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and the infallible. And because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that Supreme Person. No one can surpass, Prabhupada starts the purport. No one can surpass the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, neither the conditioned soul nor the liberated soul. He is therefore the greatest of personalities. Now it is clear that the living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are individuals. The difference is that the living entities, either in the conditioned state or in the liberated state, cannot surpass in quantity the inconceivable potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is incorrect to think that the Supreme Lord and the living entities as being on the same level or equal in all respects. There is always the question of superiority and inferiority. Between their personalities, the word Uttama is very significant. No one can surpass the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead we have discussed so many times. No jiva can equate or come close to what the Ishvara is. The word Loke signifies in the Purusha Agama, the Smriti scriptures, as confirmed in the Nirukti dictionary, Lokyate Vedartho Anena. The purpose of the Vedas is explained by the Smriti scriptures. The Supreme Lord is the localized aspect of Paramatma. Is also described in the Vedas themselves. The following verse appears in the Vedas Chandogya Upanishad. Tavad Esha Samprasado Asmak Charitat Samuthaya Param Jyoti Rupam Sampadaya Swena Rupena Abhinna Padyate Sa Uttama Purusha. The super soul coming out of the body enters the impersonal Brahma Jyoti. Where is the super soul coming from? Where does the super soul come from? Bolo? Pranab? Prabhupada is mentioning, the super soul coming out of the body. Whose body?
Super soul is Kshirodakasya Vishnu's other. Kshirodakasya Vishnu enters as.
From whom? Where is he coming from? Whose body?
Mahavishnu.
Oh, not Mahavishnu. Ganesh Prabhu.
Prabhuji, from the heart.
From the heart? From the heart of you and me, the super soul is emanating. He is residing there, but does not mean that he is emanating from there. Yes, Manish Prabhu.
Prabhuji, actually, when one becomes Akshara or get liberated from this material world, then super soul will go out, Prabhuji, and merge in the Brahma Jyoti.
No. No. What you are saying, some part of it is correct, but it's not complete. I am asking what it is written here. The super soul coming out of the body enters the impersonal Brahma Jyoti. Where is the super soul coming from? Very simple. So many times we have discussed. Kana, you are hearing?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Where is the super soul coming from?
Prabhuji, Paramatma.
Super soul is Paramatma. So how is he emanating? From where is he coming? How is he manifesting?
Prabhuji, I don't know.
Are you know? Okay, Sonika, your hand is up.
Prabhuji is coming from Mahavishnu.
How Mahavishnu? There is one more step. From Mahavishnu, all the planets are coming. No?
Yeah, means the Garbhodaksh Vishnu is going to.
From Mahavishnu, so many planets manifest. And Mahavishnu, he expands himself and he enters into each planet, and that is called, because he enters into the Garbha, into the center of each of the planets, so he is called Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And from Garbhodakshai Vishnu, he expands further to become Paramatma in everyone's heart. Where is he coming? He is coming from Garbhodakshai Vishnu. The super soul coming out of the body of Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And as Manish Prabhu says, that the super soul remains in the heart of the living entity till the time he goes back. As Paramatma, he is there to guide. And then when the jiva becomes perfect and he goes back to the spiritual world, the super soul leaves him. Then in his form, he remains in his spiritual identity. That supreme is called the Supreme Personality. This means that the Supreme Personality is exhibiting and diffusing the spiritual effulgence, which is the ultimate illumination. That Supreme Personality also has a localized aspect as Paramatma. So this is very important to understand, that the Supreme diffusion is emanating as Paramatma, as a localized aspect of Paramatma. By incarnating himself as the son of Satyavati and Parashar, he explains this Vedic knowledge as Vyasadeva. So this is to be understood, that Uttama Purushastu Anya. And here he is saying that Yasmat Sharamatitoham Aksharadapi Chottama. So that Vedas which declare that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is beyond both. It is beyond both Shara and Akshara and beyond Paramatma. Of course, he is beyond Brahmajyoti. It is not to be mentioned because Paramatma is still higher than the Brahmajyoti. And that the Vedas declare, Ato Asmi Lok Vedecha Pratita Puruṣottama. So that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna says, is me. So this is the Sambandha Gyan, is to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is Krishna, who is beyond everyone else. That is why Krishna is called Asampurdhava. That no one is Sama or no one is higher. Everyone is below or low. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes, Sonika, your hand is up. You want to say something?
No, Prabhuji. Sorry.
Okay. So one who has come to this knowledge. So please see what Krishna is saying. Matta smritir jnanam apohanam. So this is the jnana, knowledge, sambandha jnana, which Krishna is revealing. That how he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How is the source of everything and everyone. Vasudeva sarvamiti. So some Mahatma Sudurva. So one who has understood this, who is a Mahatma. So what is his response or what he performs? That is the 19th verse, which is the Abhideya. The 16th, 17th and 18th is the Sambandha. The Tattva is known. Who's who? So now having established that who is who, how Krishna is the Supreme, in the 19th verse he says that one who has understood this knowledge, one who has been situated in this knowledge. So how to know that one is situated in this knowledge? Because he performs such activities. What is the activity? What processes he follows? Yomam evam sammudho janati Puruṣottama. So one who knows me without a doubt, that means he knows me in full details, with full facts and with full conviction. What he knows me? Janati Puruṣottama. that how I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead, how I am beyond Paramatma, how I am beyond Brahma Jyoti, how I am beyond Shara and Akshara. So such a person who is unbewildered, who is never in doubt, such a person can know me. And what does it mean to know him? Sa sarvavid bhajati mam. So such a person who is situated in this knowledge, who is situated in the knowledge of me, he is engaged constantly. Sa sarvavid bhajati mam. Bhajati means bhajan. What is bhajan? Bhajan means to perform service to the Supreme Lord. Sarva bhavena bharat. So how he engages? With all his heart. Sarva bhavena. With entire consciousness of him, with his desire to serve the Supreme Lord. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting. So this is a disease. What is the disease? The disease is the doubt. We have so many doubts. And these doubts does not allow us to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna is saying is the knower of everything. Janati Puruṣottama. One who knows me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, without doubting, is the knower of everything. He knows everything. What is to be known? And what he does is very important. He engages himself in full devotional service to me. Sarva bhavena bharata, with all his heart. What was the verse Krishna spoke in the Chatur Shloki? Iti matva bhajante mam. What is the next line? Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava. Samanvita. Here it is Sarv Bhavena Bharata. Same thing. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. That means with all his heart, without a trace of doubt or apprehension. So Prabhupada said there are many philosophical speculations about the constitutional position of the living entities. Many philosophical speculations. What is the swarupa of the living entity? What is the purpose of his creation? And not only of the living entities, also of the Supreme Absolute Truth. Now in this verse, the Supreme Personality of Godhead clearly explains that anyone who knows Lord Krishna to be the Supreme Person is actually the knower of everything. One who knows Krishna is the knower of everything. There is one, it will come, I think it is here only. Must be in this. Yasmin. They said that one who knows Krishna, he is the knower of everything. There is one verse in the Vedas which speak about it. The imperfect knower goes on simply speculating about the absolute truth. But the perfect knower, without wasting his valuable time, engages directly in Krishna consciousness, the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. So everywhere you will see these two terms Prabhupada will always use. First, Krishna consciousness, and second is devotional service. So as one becomes Krishna conscious, what he does? He engages in devotional service. And as he engages in devotional service, his Krishna consciousness increases or enhances. So this is a very, very intimate, interrelated, and never-ending process. So Prabhupada is saying that the perfect knower, he never waste his time. But the perfect knower, without wasting his valuable time, engages directly in Krishna consciousness. Although throughout the whole of Bhagavad Gita, this fact is being stressed at every step. What is the fact? What fact is being stressed at every step in Bhagavad Gita? Who will speak? Pradeep Prabhu?
Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhagavad Gita establishes that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And there are still so many stubborn commentators on Bhagavad Gita who consider the Supreme Absolute Truth and the living entities to be one and the same. So then there is no question of Krishna being supreme. If anyone is coming near to him or equal to him, then how can he be supreme? The Vedic knowledge is called Shruti, learning by oral reception. So this is what we have to do. We have to hear this knowledge. One should actually receive the Vedic message from authorities like Krishna and his representatives. Here Krishna distinguishes everything very nicely. One should hear from this source. Simply to hear like the hogs is not sufficient. Prabhupada gives a heavy statement. What do you understand by this statement, Kana? Simply to hear like hogs is not sufficient.
Prabhuji, hearing but not applying it to ourselves.
So if a hog is made to hear, what will be the result?
Prabhuji, it'll be like he'll ignore it.
Yeah, of course. He will not apply it. So he will not get any benefit. As you said, he will ignore it. So here it is being said, Prabhupada is saying, he's hammering that one should hear, one must be able to understand. What it means, one is not hearing like a hog, one must be able to understand from the authorities. It is not that one should think, oh, hearing is important. In every wherever we read, Prabhupada is hammering this. He is not saying that one has to read. Of course, one has to read, but based on hearing. So one has to hear. Vedic Shastras are called Shruti. Shruti means learning by oral reception, not learning by own intelligence or own ability or own memory. That is not learning. It is not that one should simply speculate academically. So in reading, this position is always there. If we are not reading based on hearing, what we will do? Simply speculate. One should submissively hear from Bhagavad Gita that these living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone who is able to understand this according to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, knows the purpose of the Vedas. No one else knows the purpose of the Vedas. So this is the tattva. That one who knows, one who is Krishna conscious, that means automatically what he will do? He'll perform bhajan. Now what is bhajan? Bhajan means to perform service. The word bhajati is very significant. In many places, the word bhajati is expressed in relationship with the service of the Supreme Lord. If a person is engaged in full Krishna consciousness in the devotional service of the Lord, it is to be understood that he has understood all of Vedic knowledge. In the Vaishnava Parampara, it is said that if one engages in the devotional service to Krishna, then there is no need for any other spiritual process for understanding the supreme absolute truth. He has already come to the point because he is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. He has ended all preliminary processes of understanding. Of course, he is given up the process of speculation. But if anyone, after speculating for hundreds of thousands of lives, does not come to the point that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and that one has to surrender there, all his speculation for many, many years and lives is just a useless waste of time. Okay, so I'll stop here. I don't want to take the last verse, it has a big paragraph. I'll discuss it tomorrow. So in these three essential verses, this is called the Three Shloki Gītā. Krishna is summarizing the entire teaching of the Bhagavad Gītā. Three Shloki, Chatur Shloki, and here is the Three Shloki. Okay, any question, any discussion, any doubt? Anything to share? Please speak.
Prabhuji, that 15.19, you said it is avidya, Prabhuji, the process to know the Supreme.
Come again. It is?
It is the process of avidya, you said, Prabhuji.
Abhidaya means the process to know the Supreme. Yeah. Now, what is the process to know the Supreme?
To hear from the pure devotees, Prabhuji, performing devotional service.
This is what Krishna is saying. Sa sarvavid bhajati mam. What does bhajan mean? Bhajan means to perform service. And service can be provided only to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not to demigod. Demigod, we don't do service. What we do? We do worship. And why do we do worship? To get something in return. Service means it has to be selfless. Prabhupada explains in 6.47 the word bhajan or bhajati. So there are three aspects which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has explained. First is the sambandha. Okay, very important to know. So that sambandha, if there is no sambandha, then there cannot be any seva. Very important that we first establish our sambandha. Because if the sambandha is not there, how can there be seva? And if there is no sambandha, then no seva. And how can there be love? What is the prayojan? So Krishna is establishing what the connection is. That is why he is saying, without a doubt. So this is the process. The process is to perform unalloyed devotional service, unmotivated, uninterrupted. But only it is possible for those who are Krishna conscious. To the extent we are Krishna conscious, to that extent only we can be engaged in devotional service. 10% Krishna conscious, 10% engaged in devotional service. 100% Krishna conscious, there will be so much service. His life is only engaged in service. He has nothing else to think of. Okay, so it defines the process. Process is to perform devotional service. What kind of devotional service? Sarva bhavena. What is sarva bhavena? with all their hearts. That is what Prabhupada says, loving devotional service. Not that one is forced to perform. It is a burden that I have to do it. No, not like an employer-employee relationship. For some consideration or something in return, one is performed. Out of natural love and affection, he performs. He accepts the pain or the inconvenience. One who does that, where will he reach? Will he remain in this material world? He cannot remain in this material world. He has already reserved his place in this spiritual world. Okay. That was there in the 10th chapter also. Tesham satatuktaye bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupiyanti te. 10.10, see? That is also Abhidhe. Yeah. So he's Satata Yukta. Satata Yukta means who is always engaged, who is always in oneness, one who is always in unity. And what is he doing? He is performing bhajatam. And how is his bhajan? Priti purvakam. Loving devotional service he is performing. And what Krishna says, dadami buddhi yogam tam. Okay, so dadami buddhi yogam. So Krishna provides intelligence to such performers of priti who are serving him with love. He provides the spiritual intelligence so that they can return to the Supreme. Yena mam upiyanti te. Those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love. So devotion and service means love. And if one is offering love, Krishna reciprocates. How? By giving them all the intelligence required so that they can come home back to Krishna. Okay, so stop it. So this is the process. What is the process now? You tell me, what is the understanding?
The process actually what it is linking that one has to come to the platform of from Shara to Akshara, one has to come, but for that one has to perform the devotional service. That too, it should be.
What kind of devotional service?
Prabhuji, loving devotional, wholeheartedly one has to perform. And with full faith.
Full faith. Without a doubt. Without anything in exchange or return. That is Priti Purvakam. Sarva Bhavena. Then he will achieve Krishna. Then Prayojan will come. That is already achieved. That is three things. Sambandha. So one should know that Krishna is the source. The Krishna, our relationship with Krishna is most important. All other relationships are temporary. They exist only till the time the body exists. Were there the relationship there before the body? No. And as the body ceases to exist, that relationship will also be over. But relationship with Krishna is eternal. So Sambandha Gyan. In the stage of avidya, we cannot have Sambandha Gyan. Or Jad Vidya. Or Apara Vidya. This transcendental knowledge. That is why it is, Prabhupada says, we have to revive our relationship with the Supreme Lord. Because that relationship never ends. It can never be terminated. It always exists. But as of now, it has been covered. And how that relationship can be uncovered is by performing loving devotional service. Okay, Manish Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you for asking this question so we could discuss. Any other urge or inquisitiveness to know more or have clearly the conception? Unless and until you ask, we cannot have discussion. And unless and until we have discussion, the conception will not sink in. It will not be penetrative. It will remain in the books. Very important here, Prabhupada is saying Vedic knowledge is called Shruti. Means hearing, learning by oral reception. And how, what we have to avoid? We have to avoid hearing like hogs. This hog and dog mentality has to be given up. If we are hearing and if we are not making notes, we do not come to the level of Shruti, is learning by oral reception. If you are not Shruti, then what we are? Sukar. Simple. No effect. So, conception should change, transformation should happen. How it will happen? We hear, hammer by hearing. What is the conception? That this body is meant to enjoy, this material creation is meant for me to be the enjoyer, I am the Purusha. How this conception will change? By constant hearing, hammering, hearing, and writing, sharing, reading, speaking, again and again. Okay, thank you very much. So we will take the last verse tomorrow, Krishna willing. Yeah. And please try to read, please try to focus on what Krishna is speaking. We have completed the 15th chapter, almost completed. How is your mother's health now, Kana? How is Sarika?
Prabhuji, she's improving.
Sorry?
She's improving.
She is in?
Prabhuji, she's actually not that good, but she's improving.
She is improving. Huh? Okay. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Okay, thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gītā यथारूप की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, उपस्थित सभी भक्तवृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी। हरि हरि हरे कृष्ण।